Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
Hello and welcome. I'm Phil McKinney. This week, we are reaching deep into the archive and bringing you one of our most downloaded shows. Enjoy. Welcome to Killer Innovations. I'm your host, Phil McKinney. We are here in Las Vegas at the Consumer Electronics Show, bringing together leading innovators and thought leaders on what's new and what's being worked on and what's going to impact both consumers and businesses. Today, we have a special guest here in the mobile studio, David Su. David, thanks for taking the time to join us here in the show.
Thanks so much for having me here.
So, we always like to start the show with letting the listeners have a little bit of background on you. So before, not jumping into the company of the technology, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
It's my least favorite topic to talk about.
It is for most. Actually, it's what's interesting. It's actually the hardest question I always ask guests because they never want to talk about themselves.
Sure. I guess over the last 10, 20 years, I've personally been working in the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and wireless connectivity space. I joined a small company called Atmosic Communications. I guess in '99. I think it's employee number 5, and it has been an amazing journey seeing how the company go from there to a public company, and eventually being acquired by Qualcomm. And I stayed for the next 5 years or so, and then left, and here I am with Autmosic.
So your background's always been in the wireless space.
Correct.
Where'd you go to school at?
I have a PhD from Stanford.
From Stanford. Yeah. And what did you do? Did you do your master's there too?
No, I did my master's at University of Tennessee and my bachelor's there as well.
University of Tennessee.
Correct.
Wow. I love University of Tennessee. I'm a University of Illinois guy though.
Good.
So gotta be a Big Ten guy. And so wireless has just gone through phenomenal changes over the last 20 years.
Amazingly.
If you remember the early days, I started off in wireless doing the original amps cellular here in the U.S. in the late 80s.
Yes.
And now you look at cellular, and then the early days of Wi-Fi.
It's amazing that it's everywhere now. Because, for example, my daughter just started college, and she was asking me, "What's an Ethernet cable?" And so now you have entire generation.
That's a classic. Yeah. The millennials today don't know what an Ethernet cable is, or what an RJ45 connection looks like.
Right.
Yes, yeah. It is. But I remember though in the early days of Wi-Fi, it didn't get a lot of traction for many years because coverage, reliability, and it's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem because you have to have the capabilities in the device and the network in place for them to make it work.
And like any difficult technologies, it takes a while for it to get to the point that the early adopters accept it, and then eventually becomes a mass market.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting. Can I tell a story about our first trade show? I think at Theros now. This is old history. Our first demo for wireless connectivity, I think, is about this far. Measures in inches or feet, and today, you wouldn't think twice. Yeah.
Well, and now the Wi-Fi 6 is becoming the big topic. As far as where that's going to go. I've been involved in the unlicensed LTE work. And how that's coming into the space. 3.5 gigahertz and all the new spectrum, spectrum policy happening around the world. I think people, the consumers just expect it to just work and be everywhere.
Right.
And that is an interesting challenge. When I was CTO at HP, I used to jokingly say, and it was the true case, on Christmas Day and the day after Christmas, when you looked at the call logs into the customer support, someone got a new laptop or printer or whatever, and they went to go hook it up. Wi-Fi was the number one thing. But what was really funny about that problem though was that the consumer just assumed that Wi-Fi came with it. What do you mean I have to have a Wi-Fi network,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's why if you ever look closely, like on the outside of a laptop box or a printer box, it'll say Wi-Fi not included.
Wow.
You
Okay.
know, because the consumers, it's just become so ubiquitous, they don't think about it. Now, most people have it now in their homes.
Yeah.
And what is it? More than 50% of all wireless data goes over Wi-Fi. Even more,
Even more now.
even more now.
Yeah.
You know, and so therefore, it's not a wish I had. It's a must be there.
I think it's a good story how a technology started from the early days to now it's everywhere. You don't even think twice about it. And it's a journey though. It took, I think, 10, 15 years for it to be truly widespread and easy to use.
Yeah, and it's interesting from the standpoint of the early days. We ended up with vendors having slightly proprietary solutions,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And it does talk to the testament of an industry coming together and and being willing to standardize versus everybody trying to create some kind of proprietary
and don't talk to each other.
ring
Yeah.
and trying to create blocking strategies
Right.
for everybody.
Yeah. In many cases, because you can interoperate, everybody wins at the same time.
Right. And look, it's you're standardizing on the interface. You still have lots of room to invest and innovate inside the capabilities.
Absolutely.
It's not and this is the thing that I always, whenever you see like new innovations in totally new areas where everybody's trying to be proprietary at the interface layer, I'm like, why? You're actually going to slow down adoption.
And everybody hurts.
And everybody hurts. Well, the consumer definitely.
Yeah.
And if the consumer gets frustrated with with something like that, if the friction is just too much, they're not going to do it. They're just going to say, "Forget it. I'm not interested. I'm not going to go there."
Agree.
Right.
Agree.
So you got acquired by Qualcomm.
Yes.
You were there. Then you decided to leave. What caused you to leave? What was the problem you saw that was causing something? I've got a better idea. What was it?
Actually, there isn't a problem. It's probably a personality flaw.
Well, I haven't heard that term before to describe it, but this could be interesting.
No, I actually enjoy my work at Qualcomm. There's a lot of different areas, things I could pursue, but I felt like that journey that I've taken for the last almost, I guess, by then 18 years or so, has ran its course. I felt like I can coast. I can look forward towards retirement. And I thought there's probably more to life than I might be able to do something more. So that's when I actually walk away with no plan.
With no plans.
Yeah.
So you just said, okay, I'm gonna take. And then what? Then what? Then it was just basically kind of looking for that next opportunity.
Right. So I was doing a few things that I enjoy doing and things that I thought, well, I wanted to learn. For example, I learned how to write apps on the phone, which someone told me you are too old to learn. So I felt like I have to do it once. And then another coworker left, and he called me up. This is Masood Zagri, a co-founder. He called me up and said that let's start a company. And I said, well, he has a good history. He has done well in the past, and I enjoy working with him. I said, okay, what do you want to do? So next thing you know is we have to spend time brainstorming. And then we reach out to people we knew in the industry. And for example, we reached out to Teresa Meng, who was the co-founder of Ethereum. She was the founder of Ethereum with other people. Right. So, and then she met up with us. She's very generous with her time, giving advice. We talked to Bruce Woolley, my former advisor at Stanford as well. Then we met up with actually John Hennessy. Back then, he was still the president back then, so it took a while to get your appointment in to see him. They were all very generous in giving us guidance what to do. And one thing you said earlier about being standardized, being interoperating with everything around, their point to us essentially is that if you want to do anything meaningful, make sure it works with what is out there. Don't create your own niche market.
Right.
Make it meaningful.
Right. Making it meaningful and take away any friction why someone would reach out
to you,
and not want to do it.
Yeah.
So how long was that process from the time you and your co-founder said, yes, let's go do something, don't know what to do, to the time where you think you really had an idea that you could?
It's probably longer than you think.
Well, that's the point.
Yeah.
Don't rush into this. Make sure you really think it through, right?
Right. We tried different ideas, and I guess at the end of the day, it's sort of ideas that are meaningful, things that we can actually contribute to, that we know something about, we actually have confidence we can deliver.
Right.
So it's sort of intersection. By the time you do that mental Venn diagram, it sort of focuses you
Right.
to what can you do well and what is meaningful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You talked about the criteria that you were looking for on when you were coming up with an idea. And obviously, 2.5 years ago, you found that space where you felt you could, likelihood to achieve delivery, something that was going to work within the existing ecosystem. So what is that?
Okay. So what we decided to do essentially is that based on our background in wireless, so let's stay with the wireless area and looking at what is already done, what we have done as well, how much improvement can we do on a platform that already exists. So making it the same as what we have, except much, much lower power. We think that battery is an issue that all of us face. I guess we all know that. We use more batteries than ever. I would like to think in a way, wireless connectivity is in a way guilty of that. Because by not having a data cable now, it's very difficult to insist on consumers now, please plug it into a power cord. So what can we do in terms of reducing the reliance on the batteries that we now use? Because as you know, we Americans now, I think, throw away 3 billion batteries a year.
3 billion batteries a year. Wow.
And
that's a big number.
They're going somewhere.
Yeah, they're going, and most people don't dispose of them properly.
Properly as well. So imagine making that problem better, reducing that reliance, and especially for the lower power devices you have around your home.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we started doing essentially is looking at the standards-based systems that is widely deployed, which one has the lowest power that we can make an immediate impact on, and we settle on Bluetooth. So our first solution actually is a Bluetooth 5 SoC that has dramatically lower power. In fact, when we have the team together and redesign it from ground up, we were able to achieve power that is 5 to 10 times lower than what you can find in the marketplace without compromising performance.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you, say, 5 times longer battery life. So one way I like to compare against, for example, if you imagine today's solution is like the incandescent light bulb, where the LED, it still gives you light, some same feature. So we did that as a baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as you know, innovation is important to us as well. So we look at from a system point of view, from Bluetooth. Bluetooth today, the most widely used application from Internet of Things is to have something that transmits periodically, but you only need it for a few times a day. For example, you put a sensor on your window. How many times do you need to know whether it's open or closed? Or a door, for that matter. But most devices now transmits almost every second.
Yep.
So 80,000 times versus, say, 10 times, 100 times. So we put in a system level check, so you can now only transmit when you need to. So that's the second piece of it. Obviously, that requires the system to change a little bit in software.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you can now bring the power down even further. And the last piece that I'm personally most excited about essentially is how do you make a device battery last forever or be battery free? With the energy being so low now, energy harvesting makes a lot of sense because harvesting energy is a difficult problem. In fact, much like your Wi-Fi story earlier, it's a journey. But today you can harvest milliwatts. You can't harvest watts yet easily unless you have a huge solar panel on your rooftop. So mobile devices now can harvest milliwatts of energy, 100 microwatt energy quite readily under certain conditions now. So can we do that? So what we end up doing is adding to all our silicon directly a RF energy harvester that converts the incoming RF energy that we use for communication. We now convert that to DC power, and you can now power our chip. If power is low enough, you take the energy, powers itself. But you do need a source nearby.
Right.
So those are the three pieces. lowest power that we can design, and then system level trade-off to minimize devices to be on unless you need them, and then lastly, RF energy harvest for your battery to last forever or be battery.
So, what are the products is your SoC currently in shipping products today?
We are sampling now, and we will be in volume production in Q2 this year.
Okay. And what would be the kinds of devices that you would see first implementation using your SoC?
So with a 3-sector, we are targeting a very wide market space. The first products will probably be one that would just benefit from the lowest power that we have now. Because for a same solution, you now have a battery life, let's say, lasts you half a year. Now it will last you. So imagine you can save quite a few batteries in the process. So those will likely be the first ones.
So is that like an IoT device, or
there'll be some IoT device in beacon tracking devices. Right. We are also looking at HIT devices, as in computer peripheral devices that we do use a lot of. Mm-hmm. So that those devices can now be much longer battery life without having to change the ecosystem around.
Correct.
So those will be the first introduction. Okay. And then we are working with partners that will have the longer term vision of what one of our partners referred to as battery-free utopia. So in that case, you have an ecosystem now, especially in enterprise or commercial type applications. Think of a warehouse, for example, whereby you can actually afford to put in an infrastructure. You have all these devices that are battery-free that you need to track. Right. And you no longer need to worry so much about, I have 1,000 devices, packets in there, and the other battery's going to run out before I move them out. So now, but you can set up the infrastructure. Right. So those, I think, will be truly exciting type of application. So I'm looking forward to seeing the battery usage being lower for all of us readily, and then in the longer term with that battery-free utopia.
And what's been the reaction from the companies that you've been talking to that are building these devices?
So far, everybody loves longer battery life. So usually the conversation starts by, we talk about lower power, longer battery life. People say, okay, that's good. When do you have samples and so forth? And then we say, oh, by the way, we have these 2 other technologies. And usually by the end of the conversation, I always worry they forgot the first piece. But truly, I think the first piece is probably it's a lot of work, as you know, to bring the power down dramatically. Right. Yeah. So I think that piece is quite meaningful. I just don't want to undersell that piece of it.
Right. A lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs. Okay. They maybe have an early stage idea. Okay. You've done now 2 startups, right? Startup that got acquired by Qualcomm, and now you've got your new company. What advice would you give an entrepreneur who's maybe has an early inkling of an idea, and they get a chance now to listen to you act as an advisor? What advice would you give an entrepreneur to really think about as they go through this process of thinking about stepping out and doing something on their own? You've had, phenomenal career success, left Qualcomm, which would be comfortable particularly in the wireless space. It's kind of the holy grail place for a lot of wireless people to find their homes and be able to do some great and exciting work.
I agree.
Now you stepped away, and you and your co-founder took on a new challenge. A lot of the listeners of the show are innovators. They're working on their own ideas. And given your career success and your perspective, here's an opportunity for you to act as an advisor to the listeners. Now, these are innovators that could be non-tech, tech, but what advice would you give an innovator if they're thinking about stepping out and doing something on their own?
Okay. Yeah, it's a tough question. There's a lot of advice out there. I think I'm sure all of us have read books. Right. There are steps you go through and things you check. And yes, I read those books too. But I'll give a personal opinion. I felt like one of the most important thing is whatever you do, make sure it is something you believe in, something you are passionate about. And even when things get tough, you are willing to tough it out. So because the worst thing is you did something because you think you can make money quickly. You think it's a easy thing. And when things don't go right, and I really hated the idea in the first place, then it will go really badly because it's a long journey,
Right.
as you know.
Yes.
Nothing happens quickly, and it's long hours. It's without that passion and drive that you believe in, I think that I will put it number one.
Yeah, interesting because there's also this. There's some people out there, because it's always been the encouragement of do what you're passionate about, right?
Yeah.
If you would be willing to do it for free.
Correct.
Then,
which most innovators end up having to do for
Right.
free for a very long duration.
Fact, when you're starting out, you're doing it for free.
Yes.
Because you're spending your own savings
Yes.
to get the idea going.
Right.
But there's also this adage. There are some advisors out there who are saying, no, it's not about the passion. It's about the money thing. But I'm in your camp, which says if your motivation is to try to make just do it for the money, like this is going to be big. Make my first 10 million or first 100 million or whatever. And then as soon as you get into a little bit of friction, you're hopping off onto the next thing. You never stay anywhere. And listeners of the show have heard me tell this story. I did not get to my first IPO until my 13th startup.
Wow. Okay.
13. So I started in 1980. I got to the Valley the first time in the early 80s. And that was primary jobs, having a couple side hustles going, right? And but it was, and I'll tell you the difference on my success. It was the team,
which is my number two.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's having in your case, you talked about the co-founder that you had worked together, you had confidence, you had trust.
You need to have trust, and you need to believe in each other, and always surround yourself with people smarter than you,
right?
And then be willing to listen, because none of us is right all of the time. In my case, almost none of the time. So listen to people who are smarter than you, and obviously not blindly, obviously, right? Seek out advice. You can double check. You can get advisors that has way more knowledge than you have. Make sure what you do is grounded on reality.
Right.
You can have a passion to have a flying car tomorrow, but it's not going to be tomorrow.
Right.
Right. So make sure that, and so the team is important. Make sure that at the end of the day, it's a business.
Right.
Yeah. So you do have to do all your legwork on the business side of things as well. I think there are plenty of books that talks about that part.
Right. So David, because in your case, did you and your co-founder, was it complementary skills? Did you have skills in different areas that kind of filled in for each other?
There are actually 4 of us.
Okay.
Yeah. So Masoud Zaghari, Manolo Saravides, David Nakahira, and myself.
Okay.
And we do have similar skills and some complementary skills in order to be able to deliver the entire solution, most of it at least. Yeah. And then you need to go out there and find the right team members that will complement you and make it complete.
Right.
Because to me, it's very difficult to have a wide spread of skills that covers everything. So from innovation, technology side to the development work to business side. So it's I would argue that almost nobody has that breadth at all. So if you have the founding team, the core team to start with, but you need to very quickly add on to it with the smartest people you can find, and that they will add in all the pieces of the missing puzzle.
So how big is Atmosic now?
We have about 30.
Okay. And how much money have you raised?
21.
Okay. Who are your investors?
We have Sutter Hill Ventures, Clear Ventures, and Walden International.
Wow, that's a good crew.
These are our lead ventures.
Yeah, that's a good crew. So we talked a little bit about advisors, right? And everybody wants to, how do you find the right advisor? And because, you talked earlier about, because of, not many people can get on Hennessy's, docket to get him to pick up the phone.
We are very fortunate, yes.
Right. What advice would you give to an entrepreneur in finding an advisor? Because there are some advisors who are really good, and there's some advisors, as we know, that aren't as good. So what criteria would you use if you were to select, when you look at select advisors, people that you're going to listen to or seek advice from?
It's actually a question we didn't spend much time on. just because we have worked with
Right, you
a
knew
certain
them.
individual. We were lucky enough to know the individual. We actually reach out to people that has been helping us, guiding us over our career path over the last so many years. In fact, I will argue it's not just for startups or innovators. All of us in our lives should seek out individuals that will guide us. People will tell us the truth all the time.
Right.
And I personally have been very fortunate to have that.
And I think that's a good point, because sometimes people wait too late and they're going to try to find an advisor to solve a particular problem
It should be
versus
ongoing.
having somebody who know you and who's been walking alongside you
Right.
for an extended period of time.
Right. All of us need help. All of us need advisors. So that is something that I think, independent of whether you're starting a company or not, and we went there immediately. So we're going to start a company next. Please help us. So that helps.
Yeah. And in the case of, did you take any angel funds, or was it straight to VC for your first one?
A few of us actually put in a little bit of private money and working for free for a while before we can get there.
Yeah. And Atmosic's been around for what? We said 2.5 years, roughly?
Yeah, roughly.
And you said you're going to samples here in Q2.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty fast pace.
We are very fortunate to have assembled a team of very good engineers from the industry with a good background, having done the wireless connectivity in their past lives. So we were very fortunate.
Yeah, because I was say that's going from startup to having
zero,
an SoC ready for early design win work.
And it's not just the hardware side. There's also the entire software and the systems, the reference design that goes along with it. So we've truly been
well, congratulations on that. If people want to keep track of what you're doing and Atmosic, what's the best place they can find you?
Website link helps. So we are on the internet. We have Twitter accounts and we have LinkedIn accounts. Those are all active.
Okay, we will have all of that in the show notes. So you can just hop over to killinnovations.com and we will have all of that information. What's next for Atmosic? You've got your trials, you've got your early sampling coming up.
Yes.
You've got kind of your 3 pillars you're focused on.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
So the immediate goal is getting our solution to volume production, customer engagement, looking towards the first revenue.
Perfect. David, thanks a lot for taking the time for joining us today. With that, we're going to wrap up today's show. Check out the show notes over at killerinnovations.com. Love to hear from you. Drop me a note, phil@killerinnovations.com, or hop over to the innovators.community. That's where I hang out. Love to chat with you. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.